Hey guys, welcome back for another mini message here at First Baptist Church, and we're in Genesis chapter 19, and we're going to look at verses 4 and 5. Now, if you remember, the angels have been brought to Lot's home. He insisted, he brought them in, he cooked a meal for them, and it picks up here in verse 4 after that meal, before they went to sleep. It says, before they retired for the night, all the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city and surrounded the house. They shouted to Lot, "Where are the men who came to spend the night with you? Bring them out so we can have sex with them." Now, these citizens of this city came to abuse, assault, and rape these two visitors. They were willing to break all of the rules of decency and hospitality and morality to satisfy their own desires. So right off the bat here, we see there is a major problem in this city, that a guest coming into this city would be treated like this, that they literally stopped and knocked on Lot's door in order to get at these men. So I think there's several sins here and several things happening. And so we need to put it all together to understand the total picture of what was happening within this city. So it appears, as you look at this from verse 4, it says all the men of Sodom, young and old, came from all over the city. Now maybe it wasn't every single man. You know, maybe this is a little bit of what we might think of as hyperbole. Well, everybody was there. When you say about, who was at the party? Everybody was there. Well, literally everybody wasn't there. I mean, your house can't hold, the billions of people on the planet Earth. But there was a lot. There was a large representation of the population of the city there, and these men have come here. So they were condemned and rebuked for this in the Bible. And there's even parallels drawn between Jerusalem and Sodom. In Ezekiel chapter 16, verse 49, it says, "This was the guilt of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters had arrogance, abundance, food, and careless ease, but she did not help the poor and the needy. They were haughty, they committed abominations before me, therefore I removed them when I saw it." So with the city of Sodom and Gomorrah, I think a lot of times we focus on the homosexuality, but there was even more underlying things happening here as well. There was the way they were treating the visitors. There was the lack of help for the poor. There were those things that were going on. They didn't care about anybody else around them but themselves. But then at the same time, you did have the sin of homosexuality that was taking place here as well. So we were stacking things on top of themselves. So their sin was connected with all of it. It was all right there together. I mean, Romans chapter 1 really helps us understand and know that not only was this assault wrong, not only was the lack of care for the needy wrong, but the homosexuality itself was a sin as well. In Romans chapter 1, verses 26 through 28, it says, "For this reason, God gave them over to degrading passions. For the women exchanged the natural function of that which was unnatural. In the same way, also the men abandoned their natural function of the woman and burned in their desire toward one another. Men with men committing indecent acts and receiving in their own persons the due penalty of their error." So here we see that it was the totality of all of it stacking together that had brought God's judgment down. So it's a very difficult passage, but it's a reality of simply what the Bible calls sin is sin. Now, men have the right to live their lives. They have freedom of choice as given to them by their Creator. But at the end of the day, we will all answer for our individual sins. And my sin and the judgment I face for my sin is no different than the judgment anybody faces for theirs. All sin is equal in the eyes of the Lord. So we hope that you have a blessed day, and we'll see you guys again soon.